Pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes. Bacon pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes.
Okay, hello all. Today you're going to learn about Bacon's Rebellion. So let's get started. It's obviously a very sizzling, greasy rebellion and actually important, all jokes aside. Okay, so Bacon's Rebellion starts with indentured servants. We've learned a little, but here's some more facts. So indentured servitude came from Europe. That was something in Europe, so it would require people to work for somebody and get food, clothing, and stuff in return. The Virginia Company, the company that founded Jamestown in Virginia, introduced it in Jamestown. So they brought that over there. The idea was that Virginia Company would pay to ship or bring people to the new land to work on the company's land, particularly with crops. In return, those people would have a document. Hi, Miss Keys. I'm trying to do my lecture.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to mess you up.
Oh, no, it's fine. They're just going to hear you and me talking for a second.
Bye, everyone. Listen to Miss Hughes' lecture.
Okay, bye, Miss Keys. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed all the time when I get interrupted. Anyway, where was I? Oh, so they would work for a contract in return. The servants didn't earn their own money. Instead, they were provided food and land by their master, so they were ultimately dependent on whoever paid for their way to the new world. Some servants were convicts or they were skilled workers. As far as convicts goes, a good amount of them were, so that means they were imprisoned in some sort of way in Europe. In the Virginian colony, they were considered of the lowest class, and they worked extremely hard, almost to the bone. A lot of indentured servants died while working because they worked that hard. So when indentured servants' contracts were up, in theory, they were promised land, crops, and new clothes to sort of start over. However, most of the time, indentured servants didn't move up in class rank, even though they were no longer servants. And what started happening was land was becoming limited, with more colonies starting up and more conflict between Native American tribes as far as land goes. Hi, I'm doing my lecture too.
What?
Oh, I'm doing an online lecture.
I love that.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Okay. That was Miss Method. I've been interrupted twice. I'm obviously a very, very important person. Okay, so next, that leads us to Bacon's Rebellion. That's an armed rebellion led by Nathaniel Bacon. He was a former... Yes,
Can we put senior detention in here?
for sure.
Thanks.
Okay, anyway, he was a former indentured servant, and he was attacked. He didn't feel like he was treated fairly, so he and a group of other indentured servants and slaves attacked both Native Americans and the town of Jamestown, particularly the governor, William Berkeley. Their motives for attacking: one, indentured servants weren't getting the land they were promised, and they were promised that land due to their contract. Well, Native Americans were on that land, and the government said that they weren't willing to fight with Native Americans to give indentured servants land. So Bacon and his crew decided to attack Native American tribes. On top of that, they also attacked the Jamestown government, in particular the governor, because they felt that indentured servants weren't given a fair chance to climb the social ladder. They were never given a chance to actually start their own plantations, to learn new trades and skills, and most of the time indentured servants would come back into indentured servitude to be able to live in the new world. So as a result, indentured servants and slaves came together to sort of rebel against the government in that regard. The outcome of Bacon's rebellion is a few things. One, Nathaniel Bacon was killed, so the rebellion in theory ended when he was killed. Governor Berkeley was put back into power. Immediately after Bacon's rebellion, indentured servitude was kind of weaned out or taken away, and instead plantation colonies like Virginia ended up relying on slavery. And third, some historians say that Bacon's rebellion was the first American Revolution, so a fight against lack of rights, lack of input in a government started there. And just to further solidify how it helped or led to slavery, so the Virginia slave codes, which were passed in 1705, so after Bacon's Rebellion, legalized slavery by putting laws and rules around it. So it gave rights to slaves and owners. It prohibited certain items or laws for blacks. For example, blacks couldn't own weapons. And it put into place and allowed for one to hunt down and apprehend runaways, which is something you see here in this ad. This is actually Thomas Jefferson trying to look for a runaway slave from his plantation. Thomas Jefferson is also the second president of the United States, so interesting, no? The point is this, is slavery now becomes a legal thing, meaning you can go to court if you're a slave owner and use these laws to give some sort of perspective or say something about slaves, which eventually, as we know, becomes a big deal because it is a lasting legacy in the U.S., even though there was a civil war that ultimately ended slavery. Okay, very short lecture. Sorry we got interrupted a lot. I'll close it out with the song. Thanks, Yami, for recommending this really cool song to help us with Bacon's Rebellion.